Have you ever wondered whether a few simple words might be driving a wedge between you and the people you care about? As we move beyond 70, our language carries a greater weight than we realize. Those small phrases we repeat, often out of habit, longing, or frustration, can either invite warmth or push it away. The paradox is that, in this stage of life, most of us are craving closeness and genuine conversation more than ever. Yet, our words sometimes create walls that keep people at a distance. It's not our age that isolates us. It's how we talk about our age, our fears, our regrets, and our relationships. The sad reality is that we frequently don't see the impact we have on others, even when that impact is as subtle as a song or as overt as a negative phrase repeated too often. In this script, I'll walk you through 7 common phrases many people over 70 use. Phrases that seem harmless, perhaps even honest, but that slowly create emotional barriers. These are the words that make children, grandchildren, friends, and neighbors feel uncomfortable or powerless to help, leading them to drift away. But here's the good news. You're never stuck with these habits. Once you shine a light on them, you can pivot, choosing language that forges connections rather than breaks them. This isn't about denying the realities of getting older. It's about recognizing that how we speak shapes how we're treated. And the shift can be as small as changing a few words in your everyday dialogue. 1. I'm just a burden. Few statements feel as heavy or as final as "I'm just a burden." People often say it when they're tired of needing help, tired of struggling with daily activities, tired of feeling like they can't keep up with the demands of life. Although the phrase might be an attempt to express humility or sorrow, it frequently backfires. Hearing someone call themselves a burden can strike listeners like a punch to the gut. It's not that loved ones want to run away from your predicament. It's that they have no idea how to respond. They hear you labeling yourself in a way that's painful, and they might feel guilty or frustrated or helpless. Think of it from your adult daughter's perspective. She comes over every weekend to check on you, bringing groceries or helping with small chores. You say, "I'm just a burden," to show that you notice the trouble she's going through. But to her, it sounds like you're concluding you have no worth left. Instead of making her feel acknowledged, it can leave her feeling like she's failing to reassure you. If she can't convince you otherwise, if every visit ends with that same phrase, she may start avoiding deeper contact. Not because she doesn't love you, but because she leaves each interaction carrying your sadness in her chest. In truth, saying "I'm a burden" is less about humility and more about despair. Despair that you no longer feel strong or independent. Despair that you need a support you never needed before. But if you're seeking closeness, this phrase works against you. It builds an invisible wall that says, "I've already judged myself, and I expect you to see me the same way." Instead, try acknowledging your appreciation. "I'm really grateful you're here," or "I realize it takes time and effort to help me, and I can't tell you how much it means." Such expressions allow your helper, be it family or friend, to feel valued instead of placed in an unwinnable situation. That small change in words can encourage more connection, not less, letting loved ones see you in a different light, as someone who's aware of their care, but who still recognizes their own inherent worth. 2. No one understands me anymore. The world is changing rapidly. Technology, social norms, and cultural references might feel unrecognizable compared to even a decade or two ago. In that confusion, it's easy to sigh and declare, "No one understands me anymore." It might be a quiet lament after a conversation where younger relatives talk about influencers, apps, or streaming services that mean nothing to you. Or perhaps friends your own age have moved away or passed on, and you feel stranded in a landscape that no longer looks like home. These feelings are valid. However, this phrase can come across as a veiled accusation to the people around you, an accusation that they haven't tried hard enough or that they simply can't reach the depth of your experience. The hidden danger is that by saying "no one understands me anymore," you may be pushing people to give up on trying. Picture your grandson who excitedly explains his new virtual reality game. You look at him with a blank stare, let out a deep sigh, and comment, "This is all too foreign to me. I guess no one really gets me at this age." He might not say anything in return, but he internalizes the message. Grandpa feels excluded or misunderstood, so let me not talk about it next time. Over time, he shares less and you connect less. The distance grows, ironically cementing the idea that you're isolated and misunderstood. A more powerful approach is to signal curiosity rather than resignation. Instead of "no one understands me," you might try, "It's all new to me. Can you help me see what you love about it?" Or, "It's fascinating how much the world has changed. I'd like to understand your perspective, even if I can't fully relate." These small shifts keep the conversation open, telling younger relatives or friends that you're willing to stay engaged, even if you're out of your depth. Openness, not perfect understanding, is what fosters real connection. The moment you stop demanding perfect comprehension and start inviting dialogue, you'll be surprised how eagerly people meet you halfway. 3. I've got nothing left to offer. It might start as a quiet admission. Your knees ache, your memory feels less reliable, and the younger folks in your life seem so busy that you wonder if they still need your input or advice. Then, before you realize it, the sentence, "I've got nothing left to offer," appears in your vocabulary. You say it perhaps as a self-deprecating joke or a sigh of resignation, but the effect is the same. It signals to others and to yourself that your well of contributions is empty. Here's the tricky part. People around you might have looked up to you for decades. Your wisdom, your humor, or your life stories have profoundly impacted them. When you declare that you have nothing left to offer, you dismiss the influence you can still have. You also silently discourage them from seeking your perspective. They might think, "Well, I guess Grandpa doesn't want to weigh in," or "Grandma feels like she can't contribute, so maybe I should let her rest." Rather than burden you, they look elsewhere for conversation, inadvertently creating a lonely bubble around you. Consider the possibility that your greatest offering might be your presence, your calm, or your perspective on events that only someone who's lived a robust life can provide. Perhaps you're not physically able to babysit grandchildren for hours, but you could share family stories or encourage them during a tough period. Maybe you can't volunteer in the same ways you used to, but a kind word of thanks to a neighbor can make a bigger impact than you imagine. By discarding the phrase, "I've got nothing left to offer," you reclaim agency. You remember that your voice, your stories, and your compassion still count. And you let others see you not as a relic of the past, but as a wise elder who continues to matter. Or 4, I don't want to be a burden. This phrase, "I don't want to be a burden," often emerges from genuine concern for others. You worry that your children already have too much on their plates. You see how hectic their jobs are, how they juggle parenting, finances, and personal challenges. So you decide not to reach out or ask for help, hoping to protect them from additional stress. But ironically, this well-meant statement can create the very isolation you fear. If you constantly say it, your loved ones may assume you genuinely prefer minimal contact. They may think you don't want them to check in often, or that offering help would violate your desire to remain autonomous. The result? You end up feeling neglected or forgotten while they feel they're respecting your boundaries. It's a lose-lose scenario. Over time, you might slip into a lonely routine, thinking that your family is too busy to notice your struggles or even your joys. They might assume you'd rather be left alone since you've made it clear you don't want to cause trouble or inconvenience. In truth, humans bond through reciprocity and care. By always declining assistance or saying, "I don't want to be a burden," you deny your loved ones the chance to show their affection through acts of service. You also deny them the opportunity to share their own challenges or joys with you in return, because they might fear burdening you as well. A healthier alternative is to accept help graciously when it's offered and to express sincere thanks instead of apologies. For instance, "I really appreciate the ride. It makes a difference," or "Thank you so much for checking in on me." This approach keeps you in the loop of genuine connection. It affirms that others can step in for you the same way you once stepped in for them. The key is recognizing that letting loved ones do something for you isn't a sign of defeat. It's a way of staying woven into one another's lives, giving them an opportunity to love you in tangible ways. 5. It's too late for me. This phrase, "it's too late for me," may look small, but it carries a massive emotional weight. Uttered often enough, it cements the idea that opportunities are closed off. It can refer to anything from learning a new skill to mending a broken relationship or rediscovering an old passion. It's a quiet vow of surrender. I missed the boat, and I'm not even going to try catching another. The irony is that many people discover new passions or develop deeper relationships in their 70s, 80s, or beyond. Some find romance or friendship in places they never expected. Others pick up painting, gardening, or reading long after retirement and find these pursuits bring them renewed vitality. By saying, "It's too late for me," you mentally close yourself off to possibilities that might be just around the corner. A neighbor might invite you to a gentle yoga class, but you decline with that fateful phrase. A community event might pique your interest, but you decide you're past the point of joining. Over time, each missed chance feeds the belief that you're on a downhill slope with no reason to explore or grow. Instead of declaring, "It's too late for me," consider asking, "Why not now?" Even small experiences can reignite a spark you thought was long gone. Perhaps it's trying out technology to chat with grandchildren overseas, or experimenting with a new recipe that challenges your usual cooking style. These might seem trivial, but they remind you that life can still surprise you. By flipping the narrative from finality to curiosity, you invite the world to engage with you on new terms. An age, after all, is just a collection of numbers. Your spirit can remain evergreen if you allow it. 6. No one needs me anymore. When the roles you once held, such as being a caregiver, breadwinner, or central figure in the family, start to fade, it's understandable to feel displaced. That's when the phrase, "no one needs me anymore," tends to appear. It may reflect a deep sense of loss and a longing to be essential again, but repeating it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Loved ones hear it and may hesitate to turn to you for fear of overstepping. They might think, "Well, Grandpa doesn't seem to want to engage, so let me not bother him." Or, "Grandma always says no one needs her, so maybe it's better if I sort out my problem alone." Yet consider that need can manifest in countless ways. You might not be physically lifting boxes or babysitting toddlers like you did decades ago, but your life experience carries immeasurable value. People might need your stories, your advice, your warmth, your humor, or they might need a compassionate ear that has weathered storms before. A simple phone call where you listen deeply can be more crucial than you realize. A hug or a note of encouragement could be the anchor someone needs during a tough day. Saying "no one needs me anymore" often closes the door on those subtle forms of connection. It tells people you see no place for yourself in their world. The key is recognizing that your place has changed shape, not vanished. If you're uncertain how you can be of service or support, just let friends or family know, "I still want to be involved. Is there anything I can do to help or to stay connected?" That single sentence can bridge a growing gap, showing that you're open to new roles that fit who you are now. And in offering your presence, you rediscover that you are indeed needed, just maybe in ways different than before. 7. I'm too old to change. Of all the barriers we build around ourselves, none is quite as concrete as "I'm too old to change." It's a declaration that says, "This is who I am, this is my routine, and there's no point in trying anything new," whether it's an attitude adjustment or a skill. It's a phrase that can sabotage relationships, personal growth, and even physical health. Because if you're too old to change, that implies you're stuck in old beliefs, possibly old grudges, old prejudices, or old ways of coping. Change doesn't have to be monumental. It can be as small as learning to speak more kindly to yourself or trying a new breakfast routine that helps with energy levels. Maybe it's deciding to let go of a grievance you've carried for years, or adopting a positive phrase each morning instead of focusing on pain or regret. Even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, these shifts can drastically improve your quality of life. You might find a spark of joy in discovering how to email old friends or use a smartphone to see pictures of your grandchildren. You might feel a sense of empowerment in rearranging your living room to create a more comfortable reading nook. These are all changes, and each one defies the statement, "I'm too old." When you claim you're too old to change, you may unknowingly push loved ones away. They might see you as rigid or uninterested in anything that doesn't fit your narrow comfort zone. Over time, fewer people invite you out, fewer share new ideas or experiences, and your world shrinks. But by staying open, by saying, I'm willing to try, even in small doses, you send the message that you're still engaged in life. And that engagement is magnetic, drawing friends, family, and even new acquaintances toward you because they sense you're approachable. Remember, growth can happen until your very last breath if you let it. The 7 phrases we've explored: I'm just a burden, no one understands me anymore, I've got nothing left to offer, I don't want to be a burden, it's too late for me, no one needs me anymore, and I'm too old to change. Each contain a kernel of truth. They are born of legitimate feelings: sadness, fatigue, isolation, regret. Yet, repeated too often, they become mantras that define your reality. They build an emotional moat around you, discouraging the very interactions and support you crave. Over time, they morph into the language of loneliness, ensuring that any bridging attempts from friends or family remain half-hearted or even absent, since they sense the door is locked from the inside. But the power of language isn't just negative, it's also wonderfully transformative. You can replace self-limiting statements with new phrases that encourage possibility, relationship, and growth. Instead of labeling yourself a burden, express gratitude for the help you receive. Instead of resigning yourself to no one understands me, invite curiosity and ask for others' perspectives. Instead of no one needs me anymore, offer your unique presence and see how quickly people respond. It might feel awkward at first. Changing how you speak is no small task. Yet it's a task that can open doors and rekindle connections. Never forget that this chapter of life can still be rich with meaning and warmth. It's not an end, but a transformation. One where your accumulated years can shine as wisdom rather than weigh as regret. It's also a time when your voice, carefully chosen, can lift spirits, including your own. As you become more aware of the words you use, you'll notice subtle shifts in how others interact with you. Conversations deepen, invitations increase, moments of genuine laughter happen more frequently. And best of all, you'll realize that it's never too late to rewrite your narrative. Thank you for spending this time exploring these phrases and the impact they have on relationships. Awareness is the first step, and intention is the next. Together, they form a powerful duo that can transform how you experience your 70s, 80s, or beyond. If you found these insights valuable, remember that the words you speak, for better or worse, shape the world you inhabit. Use them wisely, and you'll find that meaningful connections can flourish regardless of age.